basically we could do anything we wanted to out there. Brew, how dangerous are your Ravens?
I mean, look, they've got the best.
Hold on. No purple. You spent all your time with the Motown guys.
The Cowboys
no purple Jordans today. I am shocked.
It was a great win. It was a great win, but no, I can't do it every week.
Go ahead.
They can't buy me new Jordans every week.
You can wear the same pair.
Although,
just wear the purple.
I'm open to it if you do.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
They got the best running quarterback ever, and the best running back of the past decade. And so and I think Lamar is throwing the football better than ever. He's averaging over 250 yards a game passing, which is the first time he's ever done that. And I just think his accuracy, I don't know if his percentage is the highest, but I think he looks better than ever in the pocket to me. What I want to see is defense. And yesterday I was encouraged. Now I know Jaden Daniels had a great game, but they held what had been the highest scoring team in the league to just 23 points. And on third down, and they didn't only have 52 yards rushing, but Brian Robinson wasn't there. But still, on third down, they held the Commanders to 4 of 12 as far as converting. Commanders are second, even with what happened yesterday, they're second in the league in third down conversion. So to hold them to 4 of 12, I thought was impressive. And look, and I'm not trying to start I thought the Ravens were the best team in football last year.
Yeah.
And I think you can make an argument, obviously they lost to the Chiefs this year, but that they're looking like that now. They just they can't, to me, this whole year is about remembering your identity and solidifying that, which they're doing, improving defensively, cutting down the silly self-inflicted wounds, a lot of penalties, they do that, and just keeping your cool. Because all of those things killed them against the Chiefs in the AFC title game.
Killed them.
That's what it's all about.
One other thing killed them. The same thing that killed them all the previous years in the playoffs, which was their quarterback was terrible.
Right.
Listen, I agree with you. Then the regular season last year, the Ravens were the best team. They're the best team in the league in the regular season in 2019 as well. The other year, Lamar won MVP. And I agree with you that I think Lamar, coach might disagree, is playing at a higher level than he's played at any point in his career.
I agree.
2019 was weird in that he had I looked it up today, he had 3 5-touchdown pass games where he completed 17 or fewer passes. So three times where it was like one in every 3 passes he threw. So that year he threw for 200 yards a game, but he threw at 36 touchdowns. So I agree with all of that. But how dangerous are the Ravens? The answer is the most dangerous team imaginable until the games really matter. And I know I'm the bad guy for this, but nobody cares.
Well, that's been the history. They got to prove.
This is what everyone thinks about Joel Embiid. This is what everybody used to think about James Harden when he was a star player. Nobody was a jerk for saying it. But because Bill Polian had a terrible take about Lamar 7 years ago, now you can't say what I think is clear to a lot of people, which is until he can be, right now he should be, if it's in a vacuum, if no history matters, he's the league MVP again. He's like, all those things are true, but if I'm thinking of teams that scare me, who roots for the best team in the league, I would say the team we just talked about, Detroit, San Francisco, Cincinnati, Buffalo. Take Cincinnati out if you don't care. Buffalo, Houston.
You're talking about teams that could have a chance in your mind to beat the
Teams that if you're like, hey, Nick, you can play. The Chiefs in the playoffs can play Baltimore or those teams I just listed. I'd say give me Baltimore.
Can we just put a little cold water on this? They weren't playing the 85 Bears yesterday.
Coach is going further in that direction.
Well, I'm just saying.
500 yards.
I get it, but not a lot of people picked Washington to be any good or go to the playoffs, except for some people. but still, they have problems defensively, and I think Chris, you made a very important point. You said he's throwing the ball better than he's ever thrown in his career. Okay, that's the thinking right there that's going to get him beat in the playoffs. That's the thinking right there that's going to come back at some point to bite him, because their identity is to run the ball first, and they've added to that mix with what Derrick Henry brings to the table, and then build everything off of that. But when you start transitioning to, okay, we're going to be a throw first because Lamar's throwing the ball so well, that's when they historically have gotten into trouble and underachieved.
But I know we've been fearing that, but that hasn't happened. They're still #1 in rushing percentage. Yards per game, gosh darn it, they're running for 205 yards per game. Yards per rush, they're first. It's the best by any team in Super Bowl era. And the reason, I know we didn't want to do a Chiefs versus Ravens thing. I fought against it, and then during the segment, I was like, you know what would be good if we did.
Yeah, I know. This guy.
I knew information. The first game, it was a fair take to say, you know what, Derrick Henry, a little bit too much tread on the tires. He had 13 carries for 46 yards. And since then, 84 yards, 151 yards, 199, 92, 132, 2 touchdowns the other day. So he's on pace for almost 2,000 yards. Yeah. This is very similar to, we're going to do Caleb later, the trajectory of Caleb. It doesn't make any sense for an older running back to get better every game, but either he's finding the holes or they're figuring out how to utilize him better. But he gets better and better. The Chiefs got him at a nice time, first time putting on the Ravens jersey and turning him loose.
Okay, maybe that's what happened, or maybe Lamar was great in that game. No, he wasn't. Like, I'll just wear it that people are going to view me judging Lamar Jackson the way we've judged every athlete of my lifetime, which is if you are perpetually an A+ in the regular season and then without fail, every time you've been in the postseason, you've been a C- or worse, and every time your team has failed to play to its seed and you've been at the center of it, we are going to look at you with a skeptical eye until that changes. We do it to Dak Prescott, nobody cares. We do it to every NBA star ever, nobody cares.
But I do think, Nick, in fairness to him last year, they didn't call a lot of runs in that game. They did,
they said the MVP go score 20 points, and he couldn't.
But that's about understanding who you are and what you're really good at. And when you want to suddenly transition to something else and you're shocked that it doesn't work.
We didn't want to do Ravens Chiefs.
You want to do Ravens Chiefs?
No, we got to do Sirianni.
Okay. I mean, this guy just can't. This guy just can't be the leader of an NFL team. I'm sorry. You wouldn't let him be the leader of your car dealership. If your top sales guy had, after a great open to his career selling GMCs or whatever car it is, has a rough year, and then he's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to take a week off, get back to who I am. And he shows up his first day. He has shaved his head. He's screaming at the customers. He's bad that day. And then for his performance review, brings his kids so you can't yell at him. You'd say, okay, we've got a problem. There have been 91 wins in the NFL this year. That win the Eagles just had, probably about the 88th best. Yeah. Like, you squeaked one out against the Browns, who are playing a quarterback that their coach obviously doesn't want to play but has no choice but to play. That's the team you squeaked by, and you screamed at your own fans for it. And the kids at a press conference is allowed if you are soaked in champagne or have just been given an award. Not when you know you're about to be hounded by a notoriously tough media. And so, listen, Philly, you won the game. I'm happy for you. But everyone knows where this Sirianni story is ending. And the sooner they admit it, the better off the Eagles will be.
I think the kid at the press conference was the best call of the game.
Well, yeah, because it shielded it right.
Strategically,
right.
But you go on the bye, you get your 3 stars back, and you still don't score in the first quarter, which is
that.
It was
5 games, a new Philly record. So you got that problem, and then you have the field goal blocked for a touchdown, and you're promising changes, and really
that's a huge problem, right?
Zero.
Yeah, look.
It was something you were supposed to fix.
It's a huge problem,
during the
and you struggle with it. And I thought some of that struggle was because he was missing his 2-star receivers. But now we have a week off. You should have spent a lot of time trying to address that, and you get the same result. And now you're antagonizing your own fans. So when anything bad happens in that stadium, it's just going to light them up against the group.
Like
You're becoming the distraction that you don't want to have your players create.
There were only 2 football positives to take out of it. Look, a win is a win. They need to stack wins, so that was good. But A.J. Brown's play was
awesome.
Great. And the fact that Jalen Hurts played a clean game.
Yeah.
Like, first 9 or 10 games
without a
first
turnover.
time without a turnover. But for Sirianni, look, Sirianni cannot strike the balance. Because we could see as the supernatural funk has been going on, right? Yeah. And even this season, he was losing himself. Like these last few weeks at press conferences, he was not confident. He was not sure of himself. He's over-explaining this. Like, he was lost. And I don't doubt maybe some players did say, look, you have to be yourself, but you also have to be mature and understand, you know, I think the shaved head was a part of him being like, you know what? I'm going to be myself again.
You don't say.
Right.
Of course it was.
Right. So he cannot figure out how to strike the
shaved
balance.
head have some symbolism I'm missing?
No, I just think he was like, you know what?
I'm interesting, isn't it?
I just don't know what else it could mean.
I mean, what are the instances of folks who randomly, across American contemporary sports and pop culture,
Don't you dare.
randomly showed up?
was
I'm not
in a
going to
rough
name
spot.
names.
It's usually after a breakup.
I'm just going to say shaved their head, and we're like, you know what? That was the moment we knew they really had it together. That's typically not what it symbolizes.
When you do these things, coach, as a head coach, you got to win. Like big. And that's the only that protected him his first few years with the team. You got to win.
He needs to be cheering against the Jets tonight. Because if this experiment works in New York, where they fire the head coach and the Jets light it up, I'd say Dallas, I'd say him, I'd say Jacksonville, all those owners are going to be like, oh, that plan worked out pretty well for New York. So, yeah, cheer against the Jets.
It's a great take. It's a great take.
It's a great take.
By the way, Coach hasn't been here since he nailed the Jets getting embarrassed in England and the coach being fired because of it take. The internet really, you're not on the internet, but the internet really liked it. Yeah. You were a star of the internet. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.